Alex Hormozi is currently generating millions of leads a year across his portfolio of 16 different companies, generating him an average revenue of $200 million a year. And he's constantly teaching entrepreneurs online how to achieve the same thing. The problem is that across his podcasts, short form content, and long form content, there are literally hundreds of hours of content that don't apply to real estate wholesaling. So to save you some time, I've spent the last few months testing Alex Hormozi's advice for specifically real estate wholesalers and investors. Now, the first thing to understand is that there are 4 ways to acquire clients. Alex Hormozi says it best. There's warm outreach, cold outreach, content, organic posting, or running paid ads. So the most common one by far has to be warm outreach. I mean, if you think about it, you're probably going to talk to like a referral base, your existing network, somebody you know to get the ball rolling. But the problem is that this method is very limited in scale. You only can scale to how many people you know, and most of the time you don't know hundreds of thousands of different people. The next is cold outreach, and this is basically just contacting strangers directly. Most of the time it's going to be direct mail or cold calling. You can do like DMs and direct messages as well, but those are the 2 most common ones. And this is actually, on the contrary, very scalable. It's honestly a great way to scale, but it requires a ton of volume and can be time intensive. And if you're not the one that's pulling the strings or doing the calls and getting in the field, managing your team is also very time intensive. So that's just something to keep aware of. Then next up, we have creating free content. So this is great because it attracts potential great clients towards you, whether it's through your social media posts, your YouTube videos, your podcasts, blogs, etc. And this is going to build a ton of authority over time as well. So it's a dual purpose thing. But just one thing that you need to understand is it does take a bit longer to generate these results consistently. And by longer, I mean typically about 6 to 12 months. And honestly, it's more so on the range of like 9 to 12 months. So just be aware of that specifically. And then finally, we have running paid ads. So just paying platforms instead of posting constantly to get your videos in front of the right ideal customer profile, whether it's through Facebook ads, Instagram ads, YouTube ads, Google ads. And this is, this is by far the most scalable method, but on the contrary, opposing organic content posting, you need capital initially in order to invest, and you need some expertise in order to actually become profitable. Now, one guiding principle I need to share with you is to avoid linear growth. In 2025, you can get leverage all over the place. And so you need to avoid linear growth at all costs and instead focus on exponential and multi-layered growth. And this is what leads me into the content and paid ads ecosystem. You need to create a flywheel effect. One thing contributes to another thing where both simultaneously integrate to create more business flow. So the steps that I would particularly use specifically, and what Alex Hormozi also recommends, is step 1 is creating valuable content. Educational, proof-based, objection handling. Make sure you can get your content in front of people. Attention is the #1 currency going into 2026 and moving on into business. No doubt about it. Everybody else who's using conventional cold calling methods, any sort of direct mail, these, like I said before, are good, but they're going to be washed out eventually and are way less higher leverage than comparative to something like organic posting over time. And so just make as much content as you can, and this is also going to help strengthen your expertise in your particular field that you're working in. From there, what you're going to do, once you have valuable content, you have valuable offers, you want to run paid ads driving traffic towards that specific content, not only just landing pages, but towards that content, because this content is going to build trust. You're going to get your videos that you're paying for in front of the right people, and then you're going to build a network and an ecosystem that's going to pre-qualify leads that are going to end up in your inbox. And so because of this, the leads are then going to convert into deals at higher rates because the trust is built. And then you can just document these new deals as proof content. And this is just going to create more and more business because the more case studies you have, the wider net of people you can reach, and the more people you're going to build trust with. And basically, this is a repeatable and scalable method. And it's by far the best thing going into 2026. Literally, it's not just content, it's not just paid ads, but using both is going to create the flywheel effect, and you're going to absolutely crush it. So getting into content specifically, we're going to go over a quick little 101 guide. And basically, you want to create a content pyramid. At the bottom or foundation, this is where most of your highest quality leads are going to come into, is creating educational long form content on YouTube specifically. These are going to be like 10 to 20 deep dive videos going over the comparisons between, using a traditional realtor versus going with a wholesaler, etc. And this is going to build your authority, and it's going to create search engine optimization for long-term organic reach. Okay, because once you build your videos out enough, eventually YouTube's going to catch on. Okay, this person is in this market. They specifically make videos for people in foreclosure, probate, inherited homes, tired landlords. And eventually over time, your videos are going to be shown to more and more of those people. And it's just going to be much, much easier to scale that way, along with just building authority. And then for the middle of the funnel, you're going to have objection handling medium form content. So this is going to be posted along on YouTube as well as Facebook and Instagram. And these are just like 3 to 7 minute videos addressing specific concerns, objections, people worried in the market that have tons of problems that you've experienced in the past. And these are the best videos to create for them. And they're perfect for retargeting ads. And they're going to move people from the awareness stage to the actual consideration of using your service. And then finally, we have the top of funnel short form content on TikTok, Instagram, and you can even post on YouTube Shorts as well. And basically, these are just 15 to 60 second hooks. They get a lot of volume and a low cost per view. And from here, you're going to drive your traffic to the longer form content. And it's perfect for top of funnel cold leads, people that don't know who you are, never have seen your business before. And it's just good for capturing them because YouTube's going to push it out to a wide net of people nationwide, or honestly, I guess we could say continentally wide if you're working in Canada and the US. And one caveat to this is you only want to use this if you have the bandwidth, okay? Because short form is easily the least ROI heavy as far as real estate goes specifically. So if you have the time, great, create this. This can add, but if you can't, just focus on the foundational long form educational content or the objection medium form content as well. So now moving into the paid ad side of things, Alex Hormozi's approach basically goes something along the lines of this. So ads are quote unquote how you fight in more ways, basically his principle. And content being the free reach, ads, on the other hand, are the paid reach, but the key is you need both for different people at different stages in the pipeline. Now, you're going to start with proven content, okay? That's why creating content organically is great to begin with. And then you amplify what's already working and proving because you've had the high leverage without having to spend too much on it, using ads and amplifying it that way. You want to test everything, scale the winners, the types of frameworks that are winning, the hooks that are winning. Maybe it's a certain story you're using. Maybe it's a certain offer you're running. And you want to kill the losers as fast as possible, especially with spends is like $50 to $100 a day. And the goal here is understanding that every single dollar should be bringing more than a dollar out. If it's not working. Obviously, you're not getting a return on investment and it's time to shut it down. But when done correctly, especially using this ecosystem with paid ads and organic content, you will have no problem getting 5 to 10 to even 15x your return. So why YouTube? What you need to understand is that you're taking the best of both worlds from each platform. You're going to be taking Google's search intent, so people that are actively in the market, but also the lower cost per lead of Facebook and Instagram. Now, you're not going to get like a $5 cost per lead like you're going to be getting on Facebook, but you may get like a $40 to $50 cost per lead comparative to Google, where it might be $150 to $200. And the difference is you're basically cutting your CPA in half comparative to Facebook and Google because, and here's the key, YouTube is a high barrier to entry. And it's not really in the sense of like looking at it objectively, but just strictly based on data, people don't want to record themselves. And most people just don't know how to create an effective YouTube ad. When you're using YouTube, what you need to understand here is that you're basically showing people who you are, why they should work with you, your personality, and they're getting to know, like, and trust you. And especially if they go and click on your channel and you have organic content, now people that have never seen you before are automatically going to be driven to your channel instead of having to search you specifically. And it's just going to create a compound effect. So if you can drive certain people with certain YouTube ads to certain landing pages that are optimized for lead generation, and you can drive people to your organic content, you're going to cast the net for everybody, and you're going to get leads at a fraction of the cost because no one else is doing it. It's undersaturated, and it's an absolutely untapped market, and you're going to win simply just from these reasons alone. Nothing else. You don't even have to be the best recorder, to be honest. You can have a natural lighting using your phone, and you can literally print just simply because it's unsaturated. So All those reasons combined, you have to go on YouTube right now. It's not even a question. Now, as far as setting up the YouTube ads, what I suggest you do is in the campaign section, you're going to choose conversions, and you're going to have a budget of about $30 to $100 a day. And you want to only show your ads on the skippable in-stream section. And typically the ads are going to be anywhere from 30 to 90 seconds. And you don't want them to be really longer than that or shorter than that. You want them to be short and punchy, but obviously not too brief where it's just like one of those ads where it just has a logo and then, skips it, and not too long where it's like you take forever to get to your point. So let's just hop into the ad campaign here. Basically what you're going to be looking at is something like this. So you just choose conversions for your campaign goal. For the budget, you can set it to $100 a day. And when it comes to the targeting aspect, what you're going to want to do is just click on locations and choose whatever target market you're going to be locating. And another thing that I also suggest you do real quick is also just turning off TV screens. Most people aren't going to scan a QR code with their phone and then want to submit their information. Too much friction, so just turn it off. And 80% of people that submit their information come from mobile phones. You could turn off tablets as well, but I just suggest leaving it on because I have seen some results with it. But basically in the ad setup, these are all the levers that you're going to be pulling in order to yield the best results. And actually, guys, I'm sorry, I forgot to show you the ad group section as well, where you're going to be choosing only skippable in-stream sections for ads. So this is the campaign level. You're going to move to the ad group level here. And when you go down to this section called channels here, just choose on Let Me Choose and uncheck everything that doesn't have to do with YouTube in-stream. This should be the only thing that's checked and you'll be good to go. Now, as far as the targeting goes, basically what you're going to want to do is have high intent keywords for like something like custom segment. For example, sell my house fast in whatever city you're in, and we buy houses in your city, the reviews for that, right? Or cash offer for my house. And these are really good for just honing in on specifically who's in the market. This can raise your CPMs or your cost per lead slightly. However, you're going to probably get a much higher cost per lead. But you should also split test it by using in-market audience as well. Homeowners, cash for homes, recently divorced, etc. Now, as far as the ad structure goes, you're going to want to have it so that in the first 5 seconds, you have your hook. And this is going to make up for 80% of your ad success. And then the next 30 seconds are basically going to have the body, the problem, and your solution. And the final 15 seconds are going to have your strong offer and call to action. So just for a quick example, this is my client, Ryan. Basically, we have the hook here and we have a visual. So see this letter? Most people panic the second they open one of these. And then they make 3 massive mistakes that cost them every single dollar of equity they have left. Now, this is for foreclosure homes. But as you can see here, this is calling out the exact ICP, and it's resonating with them because it has a foreclosure letter right there that they're obviously going to be holding. I could hold out this card if I want to, but you get the point. And then from here, you move into the story. So my name is my client. And then just some weeks away from auction, what I've seen over and over again is this. Most people wait too long. They're embarrassed, they're scared, they'll hope it'll just work itself out somehow, and you're basically just hammering down on the pains. And then they introduce Ryan's specific system, which is, the foreclosure protection system, and we go over what that system does. So first, we figure out how much time you really have. Second, we bring in cash buyers, and then we put you in control. And then finally, we have the call to action. Now, this ad is a little bit different. This is a little bit longer form ad. However, the same principle applies. So if you're behind on payments, click the button below and schedule a free call with me now. And then there's other different ways you can structure the landing page, which we're going to go over in a bit. But basically, this is the essence of it. You have the hook, 80% of the ad success, calling out the ICP, the story, touching on the pain points, drilling them, offering the solution, how his solution solves those pain points or what types of solutions he has to those pain points. And then the close just basically naturally guides them to a call to action. And so now moving into the landing pages a little bit more in depth, like I stated before, Alex Hormozi has 3 different layouts that I also find to be absolutely killer when it comes to landing pages. So basically layout number 1 is something like attention avatar, attention Jacksonville homeowners, then have your headline, and then your subheadline, have an email opportunity, and then a submit button, right? You can also have here attention avatar, same exact thing, but you can have a VSL or an image of what you're providing. And then as well for layout number 3, the exact same thing. And you can have, what's included in some sort of lead magnet or a VSL, why you should be watching it in the first place, or maybe just some case studies and testimonials as well. And basically, what you can also do is value stack as well. within the steps. So break down all of your services with individual values, why it makes sense. And if you want to really kill it, have your value stack within the ad as well to just add congruence and make it a no-brainer offer. Add congruency. People will be submitting like crazy. So for example, what we have here is Ryan's landing page, and we have attention Phoenix homeowners, stop foreclosure in as little as 14 days and walk away with cash in hand, even if your auction date is set. Phoenix homeowners are protecting their credit, delaying auctions, and walking away with money instead of losing it to the bank. Here's how. What we have here is something called a DSL. You can do, there's a bunch of different ways you can do this, but a DSL is essentially a deck sales letter. You can have a video here, you can have some sort of guide, maybe an ebook, but the point here is basically to get people, homeowners specifically in the distress situation, to trust in you at this particular point. We have a want to see my options button here. How it works, right? We have who Ryan is and then some testimonials as well. And this is absolutely killer. So we have the headline, we have actually first the avatar, then the headline, then the subheadline, and basically the DSL, and then just a simple form for people to submit their information. Then they can speak to Ryan directly. Done deal. Now that we've covered the ecosystem, how ads work, the structure of the ads, etc., we're going over, in my opinion, what's even more important than that, which is your actual offer and how you're solving your ideal client's problems. And so what Alex Hormozi has is something called the value equation. Basically, what is the dream outcome for your ideal client multiplied by the perceived likelihood that they're going to achieve their dream outcome, divided by the time delay or the time it takes in order to achieve it, multiplied by the effort and sacrifice that they have to go through in order to achieve it. And that's going to equal value. So what this means is step one is identify the dream outcome. So you're going to have different specific outcomes for specific sellers. So let's say they have an inherited property. You'd say something like, convert your inherited headache into cash without spending a dime on repairs or dealing with tenants. For a retired landlord, exit your rental property this month and never have to deal with whatever pain they're experiencing again. Crappy tenants, whatever. Pre-foreclosure, stop the foreclosure, protect your credit, and walk away with money in your pocket in as little as 7 days. And then for divorce, let's say sell fast and fair so both of you can move on with your lives and close in as little as 7 days. All right, so now we have the dream outcome. Step two is the perceived likelihood. So this is basically making them believe you're the one who's going to make it happen for them. So most of the time, this is just going to be showing proof. So we've brought, 247 houses in Jacksonville, for example, in the last 3 years. Here's Sarah, John, Joe, whatever. We bought her house on Elm Street in 9 days and she walked away with $18,000. And then you can have video testimonials from actual sellers in their market and photos, videos, like I said before, anything that you can do that's going to prove you are who you say you are. Then there's going to be step number 3, which is the time delay. Now, these are the things you want to shorten and have the lowest value or numerical value associated with it. So for distressed sellers, as we all know, speed matters the most. So cash offer in 24 hours, close in as little as 7 days, or we can close on your timeline in as fast as 5 days, or take 60 days if you need time. Get your cash offer by today, by 5 p.m., or if you call noon. We buy houses any condition, no waiting for repairs. Right? And finally, step number 4 is the effort and sacrifice. So you want to remove all the friction that they have to take and make it a no-brainer, easy option for them to use you. So we pay all the closing costs, leave junk behind, we'll handle it. No showings, no open houses. If we don't close within X time frame, we'll pay you back $1,000. Whatever it is that shows them, look, there is literally no reason not to work with us. We're here to help you. We're here to solve this problem now, fast, and we're not here to mess around. So as an example offer that I'm running for my client, Ryan here, basically we have the offer right here. Stop foreclosure in as little as 14 days and walk away with cash in hand, even if your auction date is set. Phoenix homeowners are protecting their credit, delaying auctions, and walking away with money. So that's basically the offer, and how we package it is through something called a foreclosure protection system. Basically, I'll go over the 3 steps here. This is some sauce here. You guys could honestly take this. First, we figure out exactly how much time you really have by working with your lender the right way. Then second, we bring in verified cash buyers, not just one, but several, so they're competing for your property, not dictating the terms. And third, we put you back in control. You'll see every option clearly, and you decide what makes sense for your family. Now, it's easy to apply Hormozi's advice in theory, but because his content is so broad, it's very easy to get stuck in the specifics. In this video right here, I break down the step-by-step tactics that I use to create great YouTube ads using real examples from the clients that I have right now. If you're interested, check that out. But aside from that, that's the end of this video. Hopefully you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.